Awesome, great. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is put the slides up. And someone, please. There we go. So, first thing I'm going to ask you to do is download our application for all of you that has the App Store available on your phone. We're going to test two things here. One, how well our system works and if we can take this much traffic. Two, we're also going to test if we can stay number 2 in the App Store over the course of today and tomorrow, thanks to your downloads, right? So as we've seen today, there's a lot of apps in the world, and they all have their associated statistics with them, right? And you can look at these and think, oh, that's a great app, and that works really well. But I can tell you now that anyone with half a brain and a good engineer can get those numbers, right? Uspeak is much more than the numbers that you can see there. Uspeak is a methodology, okay? Uspeak is a methodology that goes into personalization in order to improve the effectiveness and reduce the cost of learning. We do this through an algorithm which profiles people in order to give them the content that they want to see at the right time that they should see it in order to learn it most effectively, right? And so when I went to Paris and told him that this is what I wanted to speak about, he said, well, that sounds really boring. And no one's going to enjoy hearing about that in the presentation. And that got me thinking, well, that sucks. I can't tell the world how good Uspeak is. And not only that, but I'm sure there's 1,001 investors here that would like to close our 2 million round, of which our investors will probably commit around 30% already. And I'm not going to be able to tell them about how wonderful it is, right? I think, well, what if we have to pivot? What if that means that people aren't really interested in Uspeak and in learning in languages? So we decided to think about alternative businesses, right? An alternative business for us, and given that profiling is very good for us, was this whole idea that Uspeak could act as Cupid, right? And I don't know if any of you have been on a dating website, but the idea is that through your interests, you find someone who is the perfect match for you and that you fall in love, right? So we ran a little test with our segmentation tool, which can tell us, for example, who saw the word dog between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning in Mexico. I don't know why you'd want to know that, but it can do that. And we asked them to look for 2 people, that had bought 3 packs or more from our word packs, right? And we found that there was 2, a guy and a girl, one in London, one in Madrid, and that they had bought startup pack, they bought a pack about wine, and they bought a pack about technology. And so we reached out to them and we asked them to send us an email and give us a bit about, what they enjoyed and what they enjoyed doing. And we saw that Maggie from London, who is clearly a very good-looking woman, had started up her own company and was into wine tasting, etc. And we got Pedro, who also sent us an email, and he's clearly an educated person. He had personal goals, which were included finding a job, and he was into drinking wine. And he also enjoyed computer games. But it wasn't until we saw what Pedro was actually like that we saw that Uspeak perhaps as a dating website doesn't work. But don't worry, because we're not going to throw away all this data, and we're not going to share it with anyone. There's already big competitors in this world who are clearly better financed than us, right? So another thing that we're into is crowdsourcing. And with all this crowdsourcing, one of the things that we found is that paradise, for example, represents different things to different people, as you can see, right? And more importantly, a word like sexy is really hard to interpret, right? So you can think that this person is sexy, right? And one of the things that we noticed with crowdsourcing is that once you think you're sexy, you actually are street sexy, you're sexy with a dog, and you can even be internationally sexy, as you can see him in London here, right? But crowdsourcing does work, because this is one of the quality images that we've received from people representing a parasol. And this is a very clever one representing the word before, right? So another thing that Uspeak is big into is the ability to make mistakes, right? And recently, we have seen that one of our students has been making quite a lot of mistakes on an international stage, right? And from Uspeak, we'd like to sort of give her the positive reinforcement of the mistakes that she's made. And we sent her a letter last week to see if they were willing to let Ana Botella come and receive her prize today, and she is. And so with much further ado, I'd like to present to you Ana Botella to receive her present. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.